In the bustling heart of the city, a dusty thrift store held an ominous secret. That's where my roommate Mark, a magnet for the odd and unusual, stumbled upon an old VHS tape. Its label, cryptic and intriguing, read, "Watch if you dare." Unable to resist the allure of the unknown, Mark brought it home, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "Check this out, Chloe," he said, holding the tape like a hidden treasure. As I took in the faded cover and the stark warning, an odd chill ran down my spine. It was just an old videotape, I reasoned, dismissing my unease. That evening, as the rain pattered against our tiny apartment windows, we decided to watch the tape, blissfully unaware of the nightmare that lay ahead. Little did we know, our lives were about to take a sinister turn. The chill that filled the room was our first sign that the tape was no ordinary relic. As we sat huddled on our worn-out couch, the flickering screen began to paint a picture of a surreal nightmare. The video was nothing but distorted images of a desolate forest, eerie whispers in an unknown language filling the air. It was unsettling and unlike anything we had ever seen. As the tape rolled on, the scenes turned disturbing. A shadowy figure lurked in the background, seemingly stalking its unseen prey. The child's laughter that echoed throughout the room was eerily out of place, chilling us to the bone. Cryptic symbols flashed across the screen in rapid succession, their meanings lost to us but their intent clear. Something was terribly wrong. And then, as abruptly as it had begun, the video ended. But it wasn't the abrupt end that sent shivers down our spines. It was the chilling voice that whispered, "You've awakened me." I remember exchanging terrified glances with Mark, the blood draining from our faces. We knew then that we had unleashed something terrible. And then the phone rang. With trembling hands I picked it up, only to hear a hollow voice on the other end. It said, 7 days. The call ended, leaving us in a state of stunned silence. We dismissed it as a prank, but deep down a seed of dread had been planted. We couldn't shake off the feeling of impending doom. The video was no longer just a thrift store find. It was a curse, a ticking time bomb that had begun its countdown. We knew we had to find a way to stop it, but we were clueless. We had opened Pandora's box, and the horrors it unleashed were beyond our comprehension. The chill that had filled the room when we first watched the tape was now a constant companion, a grim reminder of our fate. A hollow voice from the phone warned us, 7 days. The nightmares were just the beginning of our torment. That sinister whisper from the tape seemed to seep into our dreams, turning them into a darkened labyrinth of terror. Every night, we would wake up, drenched in cold sweat, our hearts pounding as if trying to escape our chests. Our once safe haven had become a playground for the unknown, a realm trapped between reality and the twisted world reflected in the video. Despite our skepticism, we couldn't ignore the growing dread that clung to our every waking moment. The air felt thick with an unseen presence, and the shadows seemed to dance with a life of their own. Sleep became a luxury we could not afford, for the nightmares were relentless, and the daylight provided no respite. Desperate for answers, we retraced our steps to the thrift store where Mark had found the tape. We hoped to find some clue, some explanation about the video and its eerie contents. The owner, an old man with a weathered face, listened to our story with a chilling calmness. His knowledge of the cursed video collection was far more extensive than we could have imagined. He spoke of a vengeful spirit, trapped within the tape, seeking souls to claim. The video was a trap, a spectral snare designed to lure the curious and the brave. It was a cursed artifact, part of a forgotten collection that had brought misfortune to every soul that dared to watch. With every passing day, the fear grew, the deadline loomed. We tried to break the curse, sought help from psychics, performed rituals, even attempted to destroy the tape. But the curse was relentless, a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. In our desperation, we failed to realize that the spirit was not bound by the tape. It was free, unleashed into our world, feeding off our fear, growing stronger with each passing day. As the 7th day approached, we could feel its presence, a spectral predator stalking its prey, ready to strike. With every passing day, the fear grew, the deadline loomed. Little did we know, the haunting had only just begun. The truth was more terrifying than we could have imagined. The thrift store owner, an elderly woman named Mrs. Hudson, was the one to reveal it. "That tape," she said, her voice shaking. "It's cursed. A vengeful spirit resides within it, waiting for a chance to be awakened. And you two..." Her eyes filled with pity as she looked at us. "You two have awakened it." We felt a cold shiver run down our spines. The tape was cursed. A spirit was after us. It was like a horror movie, but it was our reality. Desperate, we sought help. We visited local psychics, hoping they could provide some insight into how to break the curse. They offered us rituals, incantations, and talismans, but nothing seemed to work. The nightmares continued, the presence in our apartment grew stronger, and the seventh day loomed ominously close. In our desperation, we even tried to destroy the tape itself. We burned it, but the flames seemed to avoid the tape. We tried to cut it, but the scissors broke. We even tried to bury it, but the next morning it was back on our coffee table, as if mocking our futile attempts. We were at our wits' end. Fear consumed us. Every shadow made us jump. Every noise had us looking over our shoulders. We were prisoners in our own home, dreading the arrival of the seventh day. The more we tried to fight it, the stronger the curse seemed to become. The spirit was relentless, its vengeance insatiable. We were trapped in a nightmare that we couldn't wake up from. But it seemed, no matter what we did, the curse was unbreakable. The seventh day arrived, and with it, our worst fears. The air around us was heavy, as though it carried the weight of our impending doom. Our apartment, once filled with laughter and dreams, was now a prison of our own making. An eerie silence had fallen, broken only by the relentless ticking of the clock, each second bringing us closer to the unknown. As twilight fell, we noticed a strange flickering on our television screen. The static buzzed ominously, and then, as if the night itself was giving birth to our worst nightmare, a shadowy figure started to emerge from the TV. It was like watching a horror movie, only this time there was no popcorn, no cozy blankets, and no escape. The figure was formless, a dark entity devoid of any human attributes. Yet it resonated with a malevolence that made our skin crawl and our hearts pound in our chests. It reached out towards us, its movements slow and deliberate. The room temperature plummeted, and an otherworldly chill seeped into our bones. With each passing moment, the figure became more tangible, more real. It was no longer a shadow but a physical presence in our living room. Its eyes, two voids of endless darkness, stared at us, promising an eternity of torment. We were petrified, frozen in place by the sheer terror that gripped us. We could only watch in helpless horror as the figure stepped fully into our world, its form now solid and menacing. The air crackled with a palpable sense of dread, and the lights flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced around the room. And then, the figure spoke. Its voice was a chilling whisper, a sound that seemed to echo from the darkest corners of the universe. "Your time has come," it said, its tone devoid of emotion. The room spun around us, and a crushing darkness descended. Fear, like a living entity, clawed at our minds, blurring the line between reality and nightmare. The last thing we remember is the figure reaching out, its touch colder than the iciest winter. And then, everything went black. I share this story not for sympathy, but as a warning. The paranormal isn't a realm to be trifled with lightly. It reaches out from the shadows, from dusty thrift store shelves, from innocent-looking VHS tapes labeled "Watch If You Dare." It's a world that basks in the unseen, the unheard, and the unfathomable. It's not a realm of quaint ghost stories or harmless superstitions. It's a realm where the ethereal and the tangible intertwine, where reality becomes a fragile concept, and the unthinkable becomes your living nightmare. So heed my words, dear friends. If ever you stumble upon an old, dusty videotape promising a thrill, think twice. Remember the tale of Chloe and Mark, two ordinary souls ensnared by an extraordinary curse. Resist the temptation to watch, for the horrors that await are beyond imagination.